The PlayStation 4 is almost 10 years old. 10. Pretty soon I'm gonna be able to slap a multiplication sheet down in front of it and it's gonna bang it out. I mean, bro has all sorts of dust caked up in all different places I couldn't even identify on the console. It is just really that old. So tell me, why in the ever-loving hell are we still releasing games for the PlayStation 4 in 2023? Listen, I understand all of the little reasonings that you might want to put forth. It was one of PlayStation's best-selling consoles next to the PlayStation 2. They want to keep that money rolling in. I get it, I understand. And then of course, there's always that little period in between generations where people don't want to fully adopt what is the new thing and still want to kind of, live in what was old, and so they still drop little games here and there, even though they probably should just move on. But let's be completely honest, we are past that point now with the PlayStation 5. By this time, back with the PlayStation 4, we were saying hello to glorious only PlayStation 4 projects. Some glorious. There were some that weren't. Things like Uncharted 4, Bloodborne, and even Until Dawn if you're into that. Even third-party games like Batman Arkham Knight and Watch Dogs 2 were coming out on only the PlayStation 4. There was little to no support for the PS3 still going on. Whereas today, we have developers who just recently announced that they're going back to make a last-gen version of a game that they just released this year. Which, hey, I'm actually not complaining about that at all. If a developer wants to go back and redo the game all over again just so more people can play it after they've already focused on the now current generation consoles, I'm all for it. And I know you could also say that it's like comparing apples to oranges, talking about 3 years later for the PS5 and 3 years later for the PS4, considering that 3 years ago, 2020, the world went through a whole big thing and we all know how that went. But now I would say that we're at a point where we, for the most part, successfully overcame that. And what do we have to show for it? Demon's Souls, Returnal, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I mean, we don't even know what the future of the PlayStation first party lineup is beyond Spider-Man 2. And by that I mean stuff with dates, before anybody complains. Not to dog on any of these games, a lot of them, if not all of them, are great and a fun time to have. But when you consider that there have been 2 major PlayStation first party titles that have released since the PS5 dropped, but both of them also released on the PlayStation 4. I mean, simply said, that's just holding back developers on what they can do with the PS5. Admittedly, I should say that there is an exception to this rule, and it seems that that is Guerrilla with Horizon Forbidden West. I mean, the game looks absolutely gorgeous on both console generations, with truthfully me not even seeing too much that was held back upon with the PlayStation 5 version, aside from maybe faster load times. But still, my point is, they are an exception, they are not the rule. But speaking of load times, look at God of War Ragnarok. Just imagine if we had that sort of seamless load time when it came to traveling between the realms, instead of simply walking in a circle in the space between realms waiting for it to load. Now granted, it is much faster on the PS5, don't get me wrong, and I also know that there are in-universe lore explanations as to why they go to that space in between the realms. But based off of what the game gives us in cutscenes and how they transport between realms instantaneously, I can't help but assume that they had to do that because of load times. Still hand in hand with the loading, but the level design could be greatly improved as well. Think of all the times in a game like The Last of Us, or even still God of War, where you had to shimmy very slowly through a very tightly cramped space. What do you think is happening there? The game is continuing to load the next section so you can continue on. And don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. A lot of the time when those things are happening, you usually have a companion with you, and your character and the companion are talking, and you're getting some sort of world-building lore between the two of them. It really just depends on who you are if this bothers you that much. But even if it doesn't bother you right now, you would have to imagine that at some point in the future, it would get repetitive and old between all the different games doing the same thing. I look at something like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which had seamless, and I mean seamless, transitions between the different dimensions. Walk in and out of them as freely as you want to, with a fixed location as to where that happens. But let's forget about load times. Toss it away. It's good, it's gone, alright? Think about all the new animations, the new physics systems that we could get. Now granted, we might not see huge improvements in those until something like the end of the generation, like a Naughty Dog or whatever, who puts a lot of time into the little things like that. I mean, just looking at something like The Last of Us Part 2 at the end of the PS4 generation, looking at how the physics vastly changed from The Last of Us Part 1, not only in player game mechanics, but AI mechanics as well. The potential improvements we could see here greatly surpass just a graphical upgrade or anything like that. And I understand that there aren't nearly as many PS5s out there as there are PS4s, and there are a large number of reasons for that, ranging from people can't afford one to they couldn't find one or they had no reason to get one. If you can't afford one right now, I totally understand. We're at a crazy point of inflation here in the States, it's insane. But if you continue to enjoy your PS4 right now with everything you have and continue to save towards a PS5 wherever you can, imagine all of the great games that you'll be able to play on it that dropped exclusively for the PS5 by the time you do get one. You'll have too many to choose from. And if you're someone who had no reason in their mind to get one, this is the perfect reason for them to drop the PS4. Think of all the PlayStation 5 only games that would be made and all the PlayStation 5 only improvements that would come out and be released with these games and these controllers, giving someone a reason to get a PlayStation 5. And if you're that third option I gave, where you just can't find one, you just must be walking through your local Walmart with your damn eyes closed because they're fucking right there. What the fuck are you talking? And listen, I'm grateful, I'm happy. They seem to be bucking the trend. The DLC that came out for Horizon Forbidden West this year was only for the PlayStation 5, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is already confirmed to be only available for the PlayStation 5. So if you are one of those people that only has a PlayStation 4, now is the time to start trying to get a PlayStation 5, because it looks like they're not going to support the PS4 for much longer. Overall, I love the PlayStation 4. I love the times that we had with it, but I think it's time to grow. If not now, then when? Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I guess that's it.